Bro, listen to me. This is going to be one of the most powerful, life-changing videos you ever watch. The sad reality of our generation is this, is we are all headed on a downwards trajectory. Whether you want to admit it or not, the world we live in has become immensely easy. And with the world becoming so easy, this is the state of everybody. Sad, depressed, anxious, fucked. See, we're living in times right now where we can order food from our phones. We can sit at home all day and play games if we want to. And then, when life gets hard, well, we've been told, we've been skewed, and how we act is, well, let's hide from our problems. Let's talk about our issues. Let's not do anything of action. Let's numb ourselves with drugs and video games and all the things that we're doing. I want you to look at these 4 assets that you have, but because of the world we live in, we've framed them as defeats. Look at this, bro. Your failures, your setbacks, your mistakes, and the biggest one is this, your regrets. We have literally been skewed, not taught to think that our failures, setbacks, mistakes make us this. See, let's extrapolate, bro. Let's go out. Look at 100 years ago. How different was the world? I mean, obviously you weren't alive and I wasn't alive either, bro. But from what you've been taught, what you know, what you've heard, it was hard. Life as a whole back in the day was hard. Young men your age, young men my age, I'm 25, bro, being shipped off to war with no choice of their own, right? Depending on the color of your skin, you could or couldn't do something. I mean, bro, that's crazy. But you know what's funny? Is even though life was hard back in the day, right? Everyone was more happier. Which sounds insane, right? Because you'd think, oh, well, life was hard back then. Everyone wants to be depressed. No, because with the world becoming immensely easy, we've now become a generation of spineless, weak, fragile men. And I don't know how you feel about that, bro, but I do not feel good that that's what we've been labeled as. That's our generation. Weak. And what I want you to understand, bro, is your failures, setbacks, mistakes, regrets, hard times, bro, those are your biggest assets. But because the world has become immensely easy, we've allowed ourselves to look at our failures, setbacks, mistakes, and regrets to break us. And this is where our generation and the world we live in is truly starting to even become worse off. Because the only way to truly level yourself up as a man is to have failures, setbacks, mistakes, and regrets. Because that's how you learn. That's how you adapt. That's how you become strong. But let's look at something, bro. Because, again, no one is teaching us this. And, oh, bro, you're getting some heat. This is some crazy stuff we're speaking about, bro. Look, the number one thing that we have control of in our lives, bro, and it's not even that much if you think about it, because we can't even control our heart. Like, if it stops beating one day, we couldn't control that. Look, the number one thing that we have control of is our mind. And then with that, in our minds, we control our decisions. That's really it, bro. That's all we control. And what I want you to understand is, because this world that we now live in, everyone is this way, right? Everyone's a bit sad, everyone's depressed, everyone's got anxiety, social anxiety, everyone's too scared. What happens is, right, because our minds have become these fragile, sissy minds, right, we start to view the world exactly how our minds are. And when we start to look out, we start to look at reasons why we shouldn't do something. We'll start to find things just in our psyche, in our eyesight. We'll just start to see it and look out and think, okay, well, I shouldn't do that. That person might think of me as this, or, that might happen and that might fail, so I won't do anything. That's what our whole life starts to frame as we cannot do things. But equally with this, right, bro, is if we start to control our minds, and it's a hard thing to do, but it's completely possible because you get to control your mind, right? If we start to look and frame the world in a more positive manner, right, we will start to see things in the world that start to add to what we want to do. So, like, let's say you start a business, right? Or you want to. If you've got this really sissy mindset that almost everyone in our generation has, you will think, okay, what happens if it fails? What happens if this goes wrong, this goes wrong, this goes wrong, and then, all this happens? That's how you start to view everything. But if you have a more of a growth, winner's mindset, you'll start to say, oh, what happens if I make this business? I can start another business, then I might be able to franchise this business, and then I might be able to start a whole other empire, right? It's all framed in your mind. And this is what I want to really bring alight. Our generation has looked at setbacks, failures, mistakes, and regrets as these enemies of ourselves, right? And we start to walk around with these true, like, weights on our shoulders, right? And I don't know if you ever felt these weights on your shoulders before, but they're heavy. Because I used to walk around with a lot of regret, bro. You're looking at a young man. Maybe you can tell, maybe you can't tell. But I used to be a drug addict. And my whole life, I was always set up to fail, bro. I grew up in the ghetto. Extremely poor. My father left when I was 5 years old. He was an alcoholic as it was. And the ghetto is a very dangerous and scary place, bro, where everyone that you know is either addicted to drugs, getting involved in crime. Like, that was my whole life growing up, right? And I've done some things that I'm generally not proud of, right? I've hung out with people that skewed me to do things that now I can look back and think, whoa, like, I shouldn't have been doing that stuff, bro. And I say I got into some trouble, I did this and that. But what happened is, right, and it was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me, and it'll be the best thing that will ever happen to you, is that I lived my life exactly like this, on a downward spiral. And unfortunately, I hit rock bottom, right there. And that was me at the age of 20. And what I want you to understand is, being at rock bottom was the best thing that ever happened to me, and is the best thing that will ever happen to you. See, anyone that you admire, that you look up to, that you want to be like, anyone that you find personal inspiration from, have all been at rock bottom. Go look at Andrew Tate. Go look at Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, whoever it is, bro, that you idolize and you want to, like, mimic and be like. You will see that their lives at one point was at this, and they allowed it to propel them forward, as I did. But this is not the time that we're living in. So what starts to happen in our generation especially, right, once we get here and we're at rock bottom, right, we start to just go in this endless cycle, which is pretty much chaos of chasing quick pleasure to numb the pain rather than fix the pain and to solve the problems. And this is what's crazy, right, bro? Inside of here, right, is pretty much porn, video games, drugs, everything that you can get quick dopamine, quick happiness from, which ultimately creates this cycle where you're happy in the moment, but then you lose it. So then you go do that drugs again, or you go play the games again, or you go watch porn again, and then you feel happy again, but then you don't do those things for a bit, then you got to do it again. It creates this cycle of misery, chasing fake happiness. And this is what we're going to speak about, bro. See, there's a saying that almost everyone on their deathbed never regretted the things that they did do, but the things that they didn't do. Or they never knew, or they had that, if only I tried. They always regret the things that they never did, but they wish that they did. And this is what we're going to, like I said, we're going to speak about, bro. I want you to understand something. Is there are two ways, and it's kind of like a two-step process that we will look at into how to leverage regrets. I love that. That we can leverage our regret to make us men of high caliber, of high status, that are financially resourceful, that can truly help the world, service the world through our pain, regret, mistakes, setbacks. And this is what I want you to do, bro. See, firstly, like I said, I want you to understand that you only have control of your mind. And once you start to instill and you start to push away these negative emotions that you feel about yourself. Because what I want you to understand, and I should have said this before, is that if you made a choice in the past, and at the time you thought it was the best thing to do, then what are you so angry about? You once thought that that was the best thing to do. And the only thing that truly makes you a human is to make mistakes. Is to think that you're doing the right thing at the time, but then you look back and think, ah, man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. You're a human, bro. Like, we make mistakes. It's part of being alive. It's part of the game. But what I want you to do understand is this, is that you must truly have a level of self-accountability when you think, okay, I made that mistake. Let me learn from it. And this is what we're going to speak about, right? So if you made a mistake, be unapologetic to yourself, but also be like, whoa, okay, let me learn from that mistake. Let me do better. So what I want you to do, bro, the part A section of this is embrace failure, right? But use it as a teacher. And this is extremely important, bro. Because like I said, you're a human. We make mistakes. And it's only through mistakes that we can learn. That we can truly reevaluate what we've done and think, whoa, okay, that wasn't the right thing to do. So I made that mistake there. Let me not do that again. Let me try this way that works. And then that is how you will start to frame your life to win. Because it's mistake after mistake. It's setback after setback. If you keep getting back up, boom. Eventually, you will be the man that you want to be through the mistakes, through the trials and tribulations. And that there can never be replicated by anything else. See, I want you to understand something, bro. If you're a man that's always had a nice life, that is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. I used to walk around my whole life, right, with all the family trauma, all the family things that went on in my life, me becoming a drug addict, my father leaving, growing up in the ghetto, needing to get charities to give us food and clothes donations. We grew up in such rough conditions that I was so embarrassed. I truly thought to myself that this can't be life. I used to tell my friends, whoa, bro, like, my life is so bad that I don't want to be around. I used to say that to them. Like, bro, I was probably 13, 14 years old telling my friends that I was not wanting to be around because my home life was so bad. The house that we used to live in, there was cockroaches and all this stuff running. Bro, it was dirty. Now I look at those things as my biggest assets because it's only through your setbacks, your failures, your hard cards that you were dealt that you will truly be able to become stronger for it. See, people, boys that have always had a nice life, you'll look at them and they're just shells of a man. And like I said previously, anyone that you look up to, even bro, if you look up to me, you'll see that we've all had things in our past that have built us into these strong, resilient, courageous, wall-breaking men. And it's the exact same thing for your life. Any setback, any failure, anything that you get yourself out of, or you think that you couldn't overcome but you did, boom. That's like another, piece of armor on you that makes you strong and resilient. So truly understand that, bro. Never ever be envious of anyone that's had a nice life, but truly realize that you will have things that people in the future would kill to have. Right? Because you could look at me now and think, whoa, I never had a hard life, so that's why I feel so weak. Yeah, it's the truth. Because I looked at myself as someone that was so disadvantaged in my younger years, right? When I was 13, 14, 15, 16. Now I look at myself at 25 and think I've got the upper hand on everyone that I grew up with, that didn't grow up in the ghetto with me, that always had a nice life. I look at them now, I'm like, bro, you're weak. That little thing happened and your whole world's broken. Bro, get out of here. So it's the same thing for you, bro. So what I want you to do is truly understand that to embrace failure as a teacher is a mindset, right? Because there are two things that we can do. We can either allow our failures to make us, which is the most important thing that you must do, or you will allow your failures to break you. And that will cause that downward spiral that you don't want to be in. Because once you get in that downward spiral and that cycle starts, getting yourself out of that, not to say that you can't do it, but will be such a hard journey. Which, bro, I mean, I've done it myself. I climbed out of that cycle. And for me, that cycle was literally drug abuse. So I can do it. And if I did it, you can do it too, bro. But it's hard. So you must start to frame your mind as, okay, I had that thing happen. I failed at that. My life, I was dealt some bad cards, but who? I'm allow it to make me. And that there, once you start to frame your mind as I would let these things make me, these will be the fuel to my fire. Bro, shut the gates. You're going to be absolutely unstoppable. So frame your mind this way, bro. I will only allow things that set I will only allow setbacks, failures, mistakes to make me. And once you truly ingrain that, like I said, you will be unstoppable and you'll always have an unlimited amount of fuel. So remember that, bro. Part B to this is, bro, some fire stuff, right? Is this. Part B, and it really does, that's why there's two parts to this, is I want you to channel your failures and regrets and make it into fuel. So we're going to channel it into fuel and motivation. See, a lot of us in our lives, bro, we lack discipline. We lack motivation. We lack a sense of purpose. We lack reasons why. And what I want you to understand is any mistake, any failure, any life setback that you had or hard card that you were dealt, that there is your reason why in life. That's your fuel. And what I want you to understand is if you can truly tap into you, bro, go look in the mirror, go write a note down, even record yourself. And if you can truly tap into yourself when you're feeling undisciplined and you have a constant reminder of the choices that you made or the mistakes that you made or the failures that you encountered, that will kick you back into gear. I do this every single day. I mean, you can see all around my room, brother. Bro, there's so much. I've got all these notes, memories, goals that I have on my wall. And there are days, bro, even myself, I don't feel like doing what I'm supposed to do. But then I go back and think, whoa, 6 years ago, I was a drug addict. A couple of years ago, I failed to do or start that business. Bro, I cannot have a day where I don't feel disciplined and not do anything. Or I cannot have a day where I take a day off. Because, well, I remember what it was like to not have the things that I wanted when I was younger. Or I can still look at my mum and she still has to go to work. This there, bro, that will always keep you going. We always try to look for all these other reasons why to be motivated or to be disciplined. But everything that you need comes from within, and everything, even at this very moment, comes from your life right now. Because you can look at your life, right, and think, whoa, I don't have any money. I don't have the car that I want. Girls don't look at me the way that I want them to look at me. I've got nothing going for me. That's your fuel. But also your fuel is your failures, your mistakes, your setbacks. All of those things that you thought that would break you. If you're a man that's about it, if you're a man that truly wants to win, that will be your biggest advantage. Understand that, bro. So, we all have these assets. But because of the world we live in, we've been skewed to think, let me open up about all my emotions and let me sit at home and let me just do nothing. And hey, maybe I'll go take some pills to make myself feel better. No. You ever want to feel good in your life, bro? The only true way is to look at your life, reevaluate, self-assess, start to move forward, have a forward-thinking mindset, and then use your failures, your mistakes, setbacks as fuel to propel yourself forward, and you'll always have an unlimited amount of motivation. This is what I've done. This is what Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, like I said, Andrew Tate, everyone that you look up to have done. And it's the only true way for you to win. But like I said, bro, it's all up to you. Because you can allow yourself to go back into that cycle, which you've been living for pretty much your whole existence. You get motivated for a day or two, then you lose it all. You go watch your porn, play your video games, do nothing, be so worried about other people's opinions. Or you become a man. And you become a man that's about it. You leverage your regrets. And it allows you to, bro, literally run over all the other men that are just sissies and weak. Love you, bro.